Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Happy Sunday. I hope everybody's having a good day. I see Jennifer B., Marjorie Barnes, Catherine Mefford, Hope is here. Sherry Ellis is here. How are you doing? My apologies for yesterday. I had some people coming in from out of town, and as the timing got closer to closer, and they did land early. It's a good thing I rescheduled. I just felt like things were going to be too tight. I wouldn't be able to relax. Hey, Karen, how are you doing, honey? Good morning. Sandy Sanders, how are you today? Sunday. So let me ask a question. If I do a Sunday broadcast, is this a good time? Is noon a good time for everybody? I'm just watching my little board over here to see what everybody says. Great for you. Because, you know, I might do an occasional surprise. And on Sunday, I figure we got a lot of people go to church. We want to make sure that we've covered the East Coast and the West Coast. So noon seems fairly safe for East Coast, West Coast. Just checking with everybody. Okay. Thank you, Sherry. You're so anything works for me. Better than a Saturday? Really? Well, then maybe I need to do some occasional Sundays. So I was kind of at odds with myself this morning, what I was going to do. Started cleaning my table up. By the way, when did we do that swipe? Friday swipe, not exactly my favorite. Oh, I've already moved them. They're going to be perfect for recovering. Okay. They did dry good, but Sherry pointed out how thick the paint was. And incidentally, I did find I promised you my original Swipey paper. Saskia, honey, how are you? So good to see you. Michelle D, she's here too. So you see this wonderful piece of paper? Can you hear it? There's more body to it than the acetate that, you know, you can buy off of Amazon. This has way more weight to it. This was one of the sides that protected my gel press plate. And I never cut it up. What I did is I would load the paint underneath, make sure the whole wet surface made a connection. And because you've got so much length here, it automatically pulls it slowly for you, right? And it's not going to do that divot thing that other tool had. I hunted this thing down. I wish I could find a company to tell me what weight this is, because it's like the perfect weight. Somebody out there maybe knows. All right, let's see what else is going on. Last day of the Valentine 25-day special, 25% off special. This is the last day. There is a supply chain issue with the new Purely Pigment release. We've got the colors made, but the bottles just haven't dropped yet. So those of you that placed an order and are still waiting, you can expect a special little gift in that package. Any pre-order event will get this special gift because it's going to be delayed by a few more days. Doesn't make me happy, but once they get filling, they fill pretty fast. It's just we need the bottles. We need the bottles. All right, so I maybe only once have actually done this on camera. I don't normally do bloom swipes, spins, that much on camera. I have a few in long form videos, you know, where you don't have to worry about the space on your table like I am now. And there was a glass spinner that Saskia had suggested to me a couple years ago. And I have used it to turn with my tool, but I could never get it to spin. Saskia, you're not going to believe it. When I put this thing on my table this morning, just to see if it would fit, let's see if I might. You know, they've changed the way this works. Hi, Janelle. It's gonna turn like yours, honey. Remember how when you showed me on camera, it just kept turning and turning and turning and turning and turning? I could never get it to do this for me. I think maybe because I had too much stuff on my table, too much weight on my table, and it would get caught, you know, on the paper and drag. Now it's not pretty. I'm not guaranteeing it's the pretty wheel. I've got some, but see, it's still turning. So it actually has full movement. So we're gonna try a little experiment today. I'm not a big fan of White House paint. This will be the subject for today as far as little tips and tricks about paint. So in America, Saskia doesn't have to worry about this that much. Starting with all the home improvement shows that we got about 10, 20, 30 years ago, the Carol Duvall show and all the HSN network and the do-it-yourself or the shows where we're watching them do the 1 day or 2 day makeovers. The public's gotten away from what my mom had to go through. She would, when we repainted the house, you would sand off the primer, right? Or sand down the old paint, put on a coat of primer, then put on a coat of paint, and most of the time you hired a professional to do it. Okay, you weren't doing this yourself unless you were really, you know, home improving and your husband was really good at this stuff. So with the movement of the home improvement, the paint companies started adding a primer to that paint. Then the eggshell, sorry, I'm seeing my collar is inside out, my apologies. The primer, and then there's a fast drying agent that they put in those paints. Not all of them have it. It's usually in the eggshell, the stuff you use just in your interior walls, not your bathroom and not your kitchen. Your bathroom and kitchen is usually painted with an enamel, so it can withstand the steam from the shower or the steam from your kettle, right? But the walls, the regular eggshell stuff, there's a fast drying agent in that stuff that just sucks everything into it, right? It just draws it down, draws it way down. And there was some concern a few years ago when this technique launched, you know, how translucent colors. I had someone contact me about a golden paint they had, and the tube had the marking on it that it was semi-opaque or translucent. And she says, where did my color go? I said, well, you do realize that particular paint, that eggshell paint, has this. Now, I didn't discover this. It's an artist by the name of Jen Neal who's all into the science of stuff. And I mean, more than me, I make paints, but she likes to go down the chemical road and play with things. And then Karen from Waterfall actually did a video using the bare interior white enamel. Now let me explain what this stuff is. Because I struggled opening up this can because it had the old lid. So when you go to the hardware store department, right, and you pick off that swatch to have some paint made, you have a choice of a deep base, which a lot of us use. Sorry, I'm going to get that white paint. I'm looking for my paper towels. Sorry, kids. I know they're right here. Here we are. Okay. You have a choice to, you pull a color swatch out, right? And depending upon the color you're going to have made, if it's a medium shade sage green, more than likely they're going to pull, it's not deep base, but it's like a deep base with a brightener in it. It's not really white, but it's a brightener, almost as if they added an invisible white. We talked about invisible white last week. So there's a brightener in there, and you take it to the counter, the machine goes blip, 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 puts all the different color combinations there to make up what you want, okay? The deep base is usually only for dark reds and blues, which is really unusual. Most people are not actually, not everybody's painting their rooms a dark blue or red. I mean, that trends in and out. But the white is if you were going to have like a bright buttercup yellow, something that really needed an intense white base. That's what this stuff is. And it's a water-soluble enamel that, similar to what you would probably paint your baseboards, your bathroom, and your kitchen with. And it actually kind of pushes the color up. It doesn't have any primers. It doesn't have any fast drying agents in it. That's the one thing, is those 3 bases that are at the hardware store department don't have any of that stuff in it. They don't put anything in it. And so Waterfall, I mentioned her name earlier, she did a test upon talking to Jen. She did a test, and a lot of people were concerned that the primary elements were being drawn down in there because we share a similar translucency to the golden paints that are translucent, right? In order to have that color sparkle, you got a lot of little light in. So Waterfall did a test. She used some prism pours, some primary elements, and was actually shocked. She's going, oh my God, the back of the canvas doesn't show any color. What happened? The back of the canvas doesn't show any color. And the point is, there's no chemical in this white to draw your color down. We're already blowing the color, trying to make it skitter across, or take a palette knife and trying to get it to skitter across the color. You know, I always say we're going to grandmother's house, we go over the road and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. Right, well, still the paint's going to do this sometimes and go under and upside the white, which drives me crazy because I'm all about how bright the color is. You know, I'm like, you know, lose my breath like somebody killed one of my children when I see the color disappear. I happen to like a lot of color and sparkle. So I wanted to point you that direction. Another thing, there was a product out, it's still out, called the Mix. And originally it was designed to put white paint in. Like Dick Blick makes a great teaching grade, similar to what we used to go to Michael's for Artist Loft. Artist Loft has kind of changed its formulation, so I stray away from recommending that right now because it has different reactions. But Dick Blick, and it went up a couple bucks, but Dick Blick sells a half gallon of really good pure white for $15.99. It might be $17 now. But the stuff was so thick, to get it to move like a pillow needs to move, you almost make 3/4 of a gallon by whatever you add to it. I was adding water. And I have used that as a base on a Bloom Swipe. That's why you don't use house paint. Yeah. Well, yeah, but not everybody can get access to the vivid enamel all the time, right? You're right, Saskia. You're absolutely right. Now, I do have some white that I'm going to try because I'm going to play with my spinner. We'll see. It's been a long time. I'm probably going to do more of a control spin swipe, like that Nautilus shell effect that you can get. But if this works on this table and I can still mix and spin, then this is another option for the lives. And I'm excited about that. So let's get mixing some colors. I've got a couple canvases here. I even have a little wood board that when we were painting, you probably can't tell, but this has been painted with, here, I'll flip the camera. I think the lighting's going to bitter here. This was first painted with some of that abalone shell that I did those 2 canvases with. And then I top coated it with a little bit of solar gold. It's kind of interesting. It's sealed for a couple days. So I don't know, you know, how it's going to work, try to do this. I'm going to practice on one of the white ones first because this is already prepped and pretty. This one I'm going to try to get away with not using any of the white house paint. I don't actually have my airbrush hooked up yet. Saskia is kind of the master at that airbrush. By the way, if you guys haven't seen her channel, SaskiaSmithArt.com, she does some amazing work, but her rocks, I call them rocks, that's not what they are. There's some kind of dotting rock that the dotting people use, and she fills up the molds, pulls them out and lets them dry. I think you put a little concrete or something in there to make them weigh a little more, don't you, Saskia? And then she pulls them out, lets them dry, now is coating them with the Prism Pour so that plaster Paris is sealed. Oh yeah, she's filling it with plaster Paris. And then most of our marketing videos, if you see the Prism Pour videos, and they're all up on our website, you'll be able to see her glue your canvas with your house paint. So you're telling me to put some house paint down on my spinner so it doesn't spin off, okay? And then wash it afterwards? Can I put something else down on there? Maybe a piece of acetate? I sort of wish I now had a piece of silicone. I don't know if this is gonna work. She wants me to put white there. You want me to pour white paint on there? Okay, well, it's so messy though. Mom, you sure? It's kind of messy. It's pretty messy. Anyway, she gets to the point to where, hey Judy, how you doing, Fairy Art Mother? She takes that airbrush and blows the cell activator on the top, and because these formations have it like folds over to the side, there's gravity can pull, right? I'll do it, Janelle. I see what she says, just a couple dots off. But there really is no back to this thing. What about the hole? This is not going to make contact. So do I just put a couple dots that are going to go around the edges? Right? Because the paint's not going to make contact with the back of that thing because it's messy, but it'll keep your piece from flying off. Okay. God, you guys, the experts are here. Anyway, you have a chance to see our Prism Pour videos and watch this young lady. You're right, and probably the very first one, because it flies off, will be fine. I wasn't planning on having to spin a bunch of paint off. I was gonna, the first one I'm gonna do with a control swipe, but you're right. I will have to put some paint around the edges and then it won't skid. Anyway, if you get a chance to watch those Prism Pour videos, she does a beautiful bloom job with her airbrush. I gotta get that out. All right, I'm gonna mix up some colors. Let's hope with this spinner, I don't know, I don't really wanna use the spinner to mix on, but if I have to, I have to. Yeah, double-sided tape next time. Thank you guys. Yeah, plus this is glass. You guys have a point. So let's see how far back I can get this to mix. We're gonna see. Thanks, Leslie. Okay. Well, your stuff is so beautiful. Don't thank me. Beauty, beauty, beauty. Her work is so beauty-miss. All right, well, since it's acrylic, we're back to playing with that acrylic paint base. I was forewarned last time that I guess I will use this. It's not going to hurt, even though it's going to feel a little weird to have some of them up there, but I can mix them and put them on as I do this. I don't think I had really any varnish in the mix. That didn't help, right? So, and by the way, I did promise that the next time I did this, I was going to mix also some of the colors up in varnish and add the paint base afterwards, because they do look so darn pretty when we mix them up in with a little varnishing color. Okay, so this first color is from the Bling It line. It's a mica blend. It's called Oasis. Okay, it's actually, this is my lab sample that I sent to the lab. This is what it looks like in the raw. When we do our color-coded micas, the Color Magic, I at least gonna do blends. I'm not gonna repackage them. So this is a custom blend that I made called Oasis. So we're gonna make a little bit of that. And I am going to use some of my Purely Pigments Phthalo Blue Green shade. We'll call it green shade phthalo. Now I'm trying really carefully to mix right here, right off the edge of my table so we have room for the spinner. So bear with me, guys. I'm gonna put a little bit of varnish in here just to get it all moistened up. Get a little bit of our the crumbs of paint get caught in here, so try to keep it as clean as you can. And 2, let's see what that does for us. We are working in acrylic, but I do so love to see what the colors look like when they're just in varnish and color. It's just like putting them in resin. You know, I'm hooked. Now the phthalo blue green shade is going to take that Oasis. Look at that color. To really, really, really. Hi, Connie Gray. How are you, honey? Happy Sunday. Welcome, welcome. So glad you could join us. Yeah, I will never get over doing this. I need to do a whole video channel of just mixing and letting color drip for people to meditate to, right? I think it would be fun. Okay, well, let's add a little paint to that because sadly I have to turn this into acrylic. Varnish isn't enough for this, but I sure like how pretty it is. Let's turn this into an actual paint. Yeah, that's going to be a really pretty color. It's still a blue, but because of the green shade, it will go towards that direction, right? It's going to have that more blue-green cast, even though it's still a blue. All right, let's see what else we got cooking here. I'm going to do something with the black plum. And I grabbed this by accident. It's called Papon this morning. I mean, just kind of grabbed it. I didn't mean to. I try hard to catch you during the week. Sorry about that, sweetheart. Now, Connie, can you make it to Saturdays too? Or is Sunday, because I asked everybody in the beginning, you weren't here yet, if Sunday, this time wasn't bad. I'm not talking about changing. Just if I did a Sunday broadcast, I thought noon on Sunday was better than earlier. I like to do 9 a.m. on a Saturday, but I figured noon on Sunday, everybody can get their Sunday plans out of the way early, right? And I mean, obviously you can always check the replay, but the replay's not as much fun. So I'm going to put a little varnish. Here's that Papon. Now, Papon is from the Dragonfly Wing set. It is a primary element. Thank you, Connie. It is a primary element, but it's considered our extreme pastel set. The Dragonfly Wings is. Look at that. It is like mostly made of the interferences with just a couple drops of color in there to really get it to shift. That's the Papon straight. I'm going to add, and this is really going to alter this color. I know it's going to alter this color, but I haven't given black plum much time to play. I haven't used it much. Thank you, Saskia. 1 drop. I don't want to take away all that flash and sparkle. A single drop is going to be more than enough. But of course, it's going to completely change it. Look at that. Whoa. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, I'm so glad I made that color. Wow. And of course, the Papon's gorgeous all on its own. This Papon, because of the shiftiness in it, I could have put vibrant aqua. I should do that. I could have put in the phthalo blue green shade. And you would not believe, and since I'm opening up my big fat mouth and saying it, and I have the stuff right in front of me to do it, let's see what happens with a nice little hefty scoop of it again. Let's do that one more time. Now, a color to match what this is, like to intensify it, because the nuance of this color is so soft and pastel-y, my instinct would be to go to the Vivid Intense, believe it or not. Because Vivid Intense is not quite as saturated as the Purely Pigments. So if I wanted to just dress this up a bit, but not really change the color, I've got Vivid Intense, Fluorescent Periwinkle. Oh, that was a couple drops. Didn't mean to put a couple drops in. But this would be pretty close to matching what's in the cup. It's still going to kind of go purple because I added a purple to it, right? But there's the difference between adding fluorescent purple and adding the Purely Pigments. Now, if I wanted to take the Papon, might as well do this experiment since we're on a roll here. Wasn't planning this. This is the beautiful thing about uncensored lives, guys, right? You can see all the difference in the Papon. There's another scoop of Papon. I'm gonna make that other one was heavy, so let's make this one heavy. Squirt of varnish. That's a nice hefty squirt of varnish. Went a little overboard on that one. And then if I just want to go aqua, this is the vibrant aqua, right? These all have Papon in them. But, and it's really, it's the other way around. Basically, if I said, this has a drop of vibrant aqua, this has a squirt of the periwinkle, this has a drop of the black plum. They're 3 different colors, but look what happens when I put in the Papon. Look how different they are. And this is going to be really different because we've just added a little turquoise to this. Okay. Let's add a little bit of a paint base to each one of these. Pardon me? I have the Papon and have used it in acrylic pouring. Can I use it in a, well, yeah, acrylic pouring is acrylic. Hey, Sheldon. Welcome, welcome. Sheldon Briscoe's in the house, folks. Another one of our fabulous affiliates for ColourArte. Make sure you check out his channel, too. Oh, yeah. Well, Connie, what you do with the resin, okay? And I have videos. There's plenty of live content. But what you're going to do is you're going to put the Papon in the cup, just like I did before. A good hefty scoop, and then a few drops of the Vivid Art fluid. Completely dissolve it into a paste with this. You don't need it too juicy, and it'll go right into your resin. It works perfect, sweetheart. Absolutely. Incidentally, thank you, Catherine Mefford. She said Purely Pigments are good for everything. Yeah, the Purely Pigments also goes in the resin, right? Okay, so this one, now see how different that turned out now that there's acrylic in this? It almost looks like the Papon again, as bright as it was without the varnish, just by adding a little bit of that Vivid Intense and intensified the original color of the Papon. Remember, it looked a little purple when I put the fluorescent in it. Now they really, really, really look different because we got a little acrylic base in these things. And then the Vibrant Aqua. Can you still make watercolors with... well, you could sit and take your palette. I don't know if I've got one up here. I normally have one. You know those little palettes that have like the 6 little holes, the 12 little holes? Take a drop of water or 2 and take a drop of your Purely Pigments, and you'll make a beautiful liquidy color you can use as a watercolor if you want to. Absolutely. It'll give you a watercolor effect. Okay, so the Papon kind of became the star, the unexpected star of this show. But that's okay. This is a Papon with a vibrant aqua. This is a Papon with just a touch of the vivid, intense fluorescent violet. Fluorescent periwinkle. And like I said, I knew this was the closest match once it would get mixed up. Closest match meaning looking like the powder in the jar, but just a little bit brighter. And then this is the one with the black plum. That black plum sure is pretty and very, very strong. All right, I actually had an earth tone here I wanted to do. I wanted to play with some Ceylon cinnamon and went down the whole purple and blue road. Lotus flower. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That's correct. Lotus flower, Papon, and black plum. That would make a gorgeous. Hey, Terry. Terry Lechner's here. You driving home? Yay. She's driving home from Utah. With the air flying through your hair. How's the weather out there, young lady, while you're driving? And you run into any storms, Terry, or how's it going? So this is Ceylon cinnamon. I'm going to put in some of the, wow, this batch is more yellow than I remembered. It's a good thing I'm playing with these things. Ooh, look at that. I'm going to make up more of this because I'm going to swipe a couple different things, and I think I'm going to run out of that. That Ceylon cinnamon is absolutely gorgeous. I went through the same reaction you guys went through. You first put it in there, said, Ceylon, where's the cinnamon? Well, I see some yellow popping and it's dissolving, right? But then, bam, as soon as it dissolves, out comes that gorgeous, yummy, 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 yummy cinnamon-y color. Yeah, I got to say, Sheldon, I love this color too. You're absolutely right. Welcome, Princess Jasmina's mommy. It's so good to see her, honey. Hi, Pam. So glad to have you join us. So I'm going to do two versions of this, okay? And I've already got some of this mixed in, so you're not going to get the pop and wow of well, maybe let me do it different. Let's do this differently. I want to use some of my golden nickel, as long as I can get the lid off here. And this stuff, you guys need to know how thick it is. This stuff is very thick. It's a trans red oxide that's in it. Oh, I've had this spinner forever. I'm going to have to scrape the side of this thing off. It's really strong, yet I don't want to thin this color down too much because I don't want to rob you guys of the actual color. So there's a discussion about adding just a tiny bit of more fluid to this. But again, I'd rather you say, well, it's a little thick. Then, well, it really is a little thick, isn't it? I wonder if there's something stuck on the edge of that thing. Or, this is what you guys are going to go through. So this is like I said, uncensored live. Thank you, Terry. So there's a drop. I kind of really got a goopy drop of it off. Terry just sent me a little bit of money to buy me a cup of coffee. Thank you, sweetheart. That's awfully kind of you. Okay, so I'm going to put the golden nickel directly in here. I really, really love this color. Yeah, Terry, thank you so much, sweetheart. Every little bit helps. Keep the lights on. All right, now what am I going to do with this? I could put more Ceylon cinnamon in it. I could put in some of my golden maple or red gold, one of Sherry Ellis's favorite color. It's that golden maple. I know, because Terry, what are you doing? You just trying to create some activity on my channel? Thank you. She just bought me the other half of the cup of coffee. Thank you. Thank you for your donation, love. I appreciate it. Now, this doesn't have any varnish in it. Got to get a little varnish. Let's see if that red gold holds up. Now I can get a coffee. Well, chai tea. I'm a chai tea girl. Okay, so this is a dollop of that golden nickel. Probably say about 3 drops. And some of the golden maple. I think it needs just a dash more golden maple. I want a little more gold out of it. And I'm going to do it because I can. Because we do this live. You were right, Miss Saskia. That's very, very sweet of Terry. I'm just so grateful having you guys all come on and see me. You have no idea how it warms my heart to be this supported. I was talking to Sherry this morning and said, you know, I'm nervous, whatever. She goes, you got an easy audience. Not that you guys are rollovers, but an easy audience. They're very supportive. They don't mind if you fall flat on your face and make a mistake. Yes, you do. Golden maple, a little bit of nickel as a gold. Sherry loves that golden maple. All right, let's add them in. Sadly, I got to stop staring at how pretty this is because I got to put some acrylic in it, right? I'm hoping they're a little bit different. Now, what I'm missing is a straight interference when we do these Nautilus swipes. It's always great to have some like interference gold or interference violet layered in between the colors. Man, these colors are thick. I think it's because it's cold here, Sherry. She said yesterday, or the day before yesterday, the paint looked thick. It's pretty cold here still. I'm in Central California, but it's been 40 degrees. You know, wake up in the house is 43 degrees. So, interference gold would be gorgeous. I'm also, because we have so much gold in this, I'm also going to do, I don't know, either violet or green. We've got a lot of blue in here. I want something that's going to contrast. The violet would contrast. Interference green would contrast. Interference gold is super strong, though. Terry's got a point. It's such a pretty color. It melds into everything around it. 65 in Nevada outside of... That's... Wow. That sounds wonderful. You guys are just outside of Vegas? You said gold, then violet. Okay. So what does that mean? We do one of each? Fine. Pushy. Pushy, pushy. No, this is fun. You know, engaging with you guys, finding out what you want, realizing I have to get the back of my spinner all messy. Isn't there some kind of silicone mat or something I could put down that would keep that from happening? Will that work if I put a piece of silicone on the bottom, guys? Heck, I'm wondering if I put it on this thing. I'm wondering if I put it on this thing. Uh-oh, you pulled a Leslie? She pulled a Leslie. What does that mean? I pulled a Leslie yesterday. My husband put 3 bookcases in my craft room, asked me not to paint them pink. Yeah, okay, but did you tell him it was your room? I mean, I think that's how it works, right? I'm not married anymore, but technically, isn't that your room? I'm going to add a little sparkle violet to the violet just to jazz it up, if you guys wondering what we're doing while we're sitting there talking. So you dropped, trying to figure out what she said she did, walking over them with a color to go of Anchors Away, and decided to paint the bookcase myself. And the carpet was blue. Okay, now I know everybody's saying, oh no. Well, you wouldn't believe how much trouble I had opening up that can of white today. It's the old school tops. They're not the plastic ones. They're really hard to open up. And like, wow, I struggled for 40 minutes trying to get the top off of this can. Not good. Not good at all. Did you fall? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did you fall, young lady? Pam, you fell. Did you hurt yourself? Oh no. Honey. Well, that's not good at all. For me, we already learned a couple lives ago. I'm getting better and stronger, but I still have to learn how to not fall on the floor and be able to get up. And I had one of those moments of help, I've fallen and I can't get up. About a week ago, and the fire department had to come get me off the floor. Life's most embarrassing moment. I said, hey, you know, I had a knee replacement and it's working good for me, but not good enough to drag me up. I hope you're okay. Plastic spout for what? My white paint or what she was working with? Yeah, we hope you're okay, Pam. Did you need to ice or anything, honey? That's kind of, wow. All right, if anybody's watching what I'm doing, I'm just getting the interferences mixed up. So I have the option to lay them in between my layers. Now we're getting down to the bottom of this thing. I'm kind of getting nervous. You hit your head? Good grief. All right, so where are we going to put our colors? How are we going to do this? We're going to have to go this way. And I'm thinking, I can get them over on this side. They're kind of to the left. I got to get these things laid out so nothing's in the way when my elbow's trying to move stuff around. I get a little excited with my right elbow when I'm doing things, so I can't have anything in my way over there. And I don't know. I don't really want to put that much white paint down. I really, really don't. And I don't want to move this thing because, like I said, it's twirling perfectly. I'm so afraid if I move it closer that, yeah, it won't flow. But well, I guess it'll still spin like that a little closer. I'm so sorry that happened to you, hun. I really am. I'm super sorry. I know exactly how it feels. I felt like I was hit by a truck for a couple days. And I will tell you, it's inspired me to go to my physical therapy. I definitely do not want... Okay, I have a spoon here, so here's what we're going to try. This is that bare white interior enamel. And I'm just going to kind of dribble it around the edges of this thing. This first one, I'm just going to do like a controlled swipe, like the Nautilus swipe, but it's still not going to hurt to have some of this around these edges so it doesn't come off. We don't want it spinning off in my face. Did I tell you about my first attempt at a Dutch pour? They sell this machine that looks like the coffee pot that sits on the table when you're at IHOP, and it blows air like to clean out keyboards and stuff. And I had my whole piece there. I was all excited. My very first Dutch pour, and I turned it on. Let's see if that's not bad. See if it feels centered. Oh, thanks, Sharon. See you in a bit, sweetheart. I blew everything off the table with that thing. I mean, everything just went right off the table. So, lesson learned on that. All right, so here I'm going to do this. It's not exactly, like I said, I resist this whole pillow paint, flood coat thing. I'm getting old. I must be getting old if I'm resisting all the new trends. I will say, though, when the bloom technique came out, I was using a Japanese or a Chinese soup spoon. You know, one of those big soup spoons is a ladle. And I found when I ladled the color on, I had less bubbles rather than pouring. The action of actually pouring, right? So let's see what happens. I don't want to pour a ton of paint on. This thing's already feeling like it's concaving in. I bought this canvas years ago. I'm not sure where I got it from. It's already feeling like it's sinking in the center and higher on the sides. And we just got started. So there you have it. Get you nice and lubricated, honey. Well, I'm thrilled this thing is flowing around. I mean, a couple times I tried this thing, I really had trouble with it. So, blue. So now you're not a pink girl anymore. You're black and blue. Yeah, but honey, I'm so sorry you hurt yourself. That'll teach him to tell you not to use pink, right? Seriously. All right. First color down. Normally, I'm used to using a more opaque color down as the first one because the white is underneath, right? And I did not make up in any 2 paint. My bad. We're going to have to go without the 2 paint. Yeah, and this feels thicker than my paint below, doesn't it? It feels thicker. They're all going to get another extra squirt of varnish, every one of my cups, because that's the only thing I can add to this to thin them, and I'm squirting it in now. What did Janelle say? Yeah, I'll laugh about it now. It's hard. It's embarrassing. I hate getting old. Really, truly. I think we all hate getting old. So I'm going to try to not pile too much color on. If I have to add more, I will. But at least we're getting to see Leslie play fun with a spinner. Now, it's been forever since I've done one of these. I can probably hear Saskia through the computer going, no, put it here. All you guys that are expert at this. For what? I'm not using that much water. Terry said she's using 70% water. For what, honey? Okay, I'm going to add one of my interferences here. And I think violet would pop quite nicely here. I have a resistance to that much water in paint, but there are so many beautiful techniques out there. How can you ignore them? You cannot. It's impossible to. Well, thank you. And you know what? That's my goal for this year. Also, once you've done something and you kind of go, this part looks good. So let me repeat what this young lady said. I have so many paintings that didn't turn out and felt that I'm just not cut out for fluid art. It's nice to see an honest process. It's true. You know, when you watch these YouTube videos, how many people have scraped, repeated, you know, why do you think there's a group in Facebook called Pour, Scrape, Repeat? Because it's all about the pouring and the scraping and the repeating until you get it done. And there's always a chemical reaction that, you know, is another part of this process. So, and we're always bowing to the consistency gods. Yeah, I know. And I put in some Josonia. I've been doing it and they're feeling thick, Saskia. I'm so used to having my white base thicker than my paint. Now that's starting to dribble okay. Yeah, well, that's the point of the lives, though. Atra. You know, that's the point of the lives. Is see it live, see it real, mix it live. You know, see what really happens. How do we fix it? What I was about to say earlier, my big goal for this year is so many paintings or pieces or first layer pieces I've done where this part looks good, but I don't really like that part. That part looks okay, but I'm not really sure about it, right? You go back and forth. And right, I'm using so little paint here, probably as everybody's, you know, remember, I have an option to always add more, but I can't take it away if I use too much. So that's what my thinking is right here. This is Interference Gold. I think I got all the colors on. I did our nickel as a gold mix. I did our, all the 3 Papons in the phthalo blue green shade, in the periwinkle vivid intense fluorescent. And I think we got all the colors down. Now I have a white and a black cell activator. Anybody voting on their favorite color cell activator for this? I was thinking white. I could do both. There is such a thing as using both cell activators, but I do have a white and I do have a black here. Let's see what people say. No one's commenting, so I think I'm going to go with white because I have some made up here. Oh, everybody, okay, black. Everybody wants black on this. All right. I have some black here. Black's just so messy. Well, it's a white bottom, girl. What do you mean black bottom? Oh, put them both on. Oh, okay. Done and done. So black bottom, white top. Got it. Double it. Okay. And the black will go right on top of that Interference Gold, which will be nice. Agreed, and I agree. Okay. So, yeah, I was going to put it on my Swipey tool. So, black bottom, white top. Maybe what I'll do, dribble a little black actually down in the paint and then use the white cell activator over the top. What do you guys think about that? Because that way I'm using them both. That might work. Is that okay? Drop some black down actually on it, drizzle it over it, and then do some white here. So we're gonna drizzle some black over the top of those. The old school way, you know, before we put it on the palette knife, right? That's a lot of black. And then I'll put my white on the back of my knife. But because of the way the camera's going, you're probably not going to be able to see me put the white on the back of the knife. And just trust that I'm going to put white on the back of this knife. I don't know. This feels like the most controlled way to start on these spinner swipes. Is something that I got my pie slice on. Let all that paint run down on there so it's fully covered. All right. And I'm just going to take it and spin it. That's kind of interesting what we got going on right now. I'm going to wipe off this blade. Give me a second. Wow. We got our tool clean. I got to get all these bottles and cell activators and everything out of the way. Wow, that's pretty interesting. Look at that, girls. And boys. I don't know if there's any guys in here today. I don't know if I can show. Oh, I have the acetate underneath. Smart thinking, Leslie. I put the acetate down and then the paint. I wasn't. Look at that. Wow. Okay. So let's, now that I've jinxed it and lifted it up, what a dope. I had it perfectly centered. Let's see what happens when we spin this out. You're right, it does have a yin-yang effect. These always look like a nautilus shell to me, right? Wow, can we get over that? I'm liking what's happening here. A little bit too much black, but I really love the super light effect that's happening. See if I can tilt this over here a little bit. Yeah, I stuck the acetate down. Not that it really helped. And then put the paint over. Let's see if I can tilt this up a little bit. White should what? Outdo the black cells. Oh, I'm loving that color combination, what's happening here. Look at that purple. Ah! It's not completely centered, but I have a lot of white paint on my hands, so give me a minute to stop this thing. Okay, you guys might have just found a new thing that I'd want to come on and do every day. This is fun. This is a lot of fun. I'm loving that color, but it needs to spin more out now. Let's see if I can get this thing centered where it looks centered and give it another healthy spin. Look at the shimmer. Yeah, white should outline the black, but I put the black down first and then swiped over with the white. Man, I need new gloves. All of a sudden, I need new gloves. I put a little bit too much black down. Next one, I won't. We'll just put a little dribble of it down because the black is pretty darn strong. I'm letting it spin a minute while I'm putting a new glove on. So, oh wow, look at those big cells starting to form. What's that? You see that? Whoa, 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 whoa. There's a nice round silicone mat on baking supplies. Oh, you thought I should put the white on the bottom and the black on top when I was doing the layering. I could do that on the next one. But look at those big honking cells. My hand's sweaty, so I'm having trouble putting on clean gloves. But I can't deal with how messy those things were. Okay, well, I still have a section here that feels a little weird, that it's empty. There's nothing there. I think I'm going to, this already has an outline of that Ceylon cinnamon. Those big boulder cells? Oh man. Okay, if I'm gonna swipe, I'm gonna swipe this way. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on right here. It's been a long time since I've done one of these. This is making me extremely happy to play with this. Okay, in this one, the white is outlining the black. I love the web. The webbing's really interesting. I am enjoying this webbing. You are correct, girls and boys. I'm in love. This was that Papon with the phthalo blue. Oh no, this is the Oasis. Yeah, this color turned out hot. This is that Oasis, that Bling It Oasis mixed with that phthalo blue green shade. That is a stunning color. Looks really pretty opening up these little cells with that cinnamon color. What are we saying, Pam? As long as I'm not screwing this up, kids. And a little drizzle. These are the Papon colors. Let me get the interference gold in. And I like a lot of that gold. It's going to show up under that black. Again, a lot of shimmer under there with this. I must admit, our gold is extraordinary. Our interferences have like triple coating on them. They're a little bit more expensive to buy, but they sure make a lot of difference when you're playing with color. All right, so the last one I use a little black, and I'm going to stick with that, but I'm not going to go crazy on the black. I'm just going to add a little dribble of black here. So there's some consistency of what I did, but I don't need to do it 3 times like I did it last time. Sonia just said, Miss Leslie wanted to say how inspiring it is to get back to pouring. I've had 3 totes full of molds just looking at me, broke down. You're making art almost daily again? Woohoo! That's what we want. And Terry, I admit, I've been doing this 28 years. I've searched high and low. Our minerals are some of the prettiest minerals, and there are different grades, girls. Remember when you go diamond shopping, if you've ever had the opportunity, the first one they show you looks beautiful. By the time you're at the end, I'm actually putting my cell activator on if you're wondering what I'm doing. The last one they show you is flawless. And then when you compare it to the first one looks yellow. Now, you have to kind of train your eye to be able to see the difference, but I can see the difference in grades of the interferences, and they matter. All because of me. Thank you, Miss Sonia. Okay, we're going to do this. Lay it down. Do the controls. Swipe to that outside. I'm liking these beauties. Ooh, thank you, Miss Terry. Oh, wow, look at the sellage we're getting there. Woo! And by the way, I took Kathleen McGee's suggestion. Instead of 3-to-1 on my cell activator, it's a 4-part Australian Floetrol to the color. Ooh, I'm looking. Now see, with less black, I'm liking what's happening there. And then the residue right here, if you can see, that residue is creating these really, I don't want to lose those. I don't want to lose these. So that's a problem all you guys go through, that challenge. I don't want to lose it. I'm going to tilt it a little bit. I'll pick up the whole spinner and tilt it. Now I'm getting really brave. 'Cause I don't want to lose that. I'm sure there's a song like that. I don't want to lose you, baby. Okay, let's spin it. Ah, thank you, Connie. Yeah, our gold is, there's something really special about that gold. Now this black thing in the middle is a little bit different. It's kind of not thrilling me too much. So this is when we get to, you know, get creative and see if I can't pull some of this out. Kind of did a little bit too much, but you know the theory. Can I get this to just pull out slightly? Probably doing it from the wrong angle. No, this would be backwards. I'm just going to try to lift this up and kind of pull it over a little bit. Give it another spin. Yeah, Sheldon, I'm a little bit timid when it comes to make a mistake doing this whole spinning, blooming, swiping. Yeah. Interesting. It just extended that thing that it did. All right, let's give it the full Monty. Let's see what happens now. It's still bugging me a little bit how black that is. Wow, look at that. That's kind of interesting. Hey, Leslie, everyone. Hi. You got to see me spinning. Pull canvas towards side. You don't, I know, I don't want to lose. I know. Towards the side, I don't want to lose. Now I'm not quite sure. I don't want to lose you, baby. I still have to sit due to my knee replacement. I get it. Well, let's, I have that acetate here I could pick it up with. I'm just going to kind of tilt it this way. Give it the full blown. We got another one to do, so don't give up on me, guys. We get a redo with not so much black. But while I can still pull it over this side, I'm actually giving up those tiny little cells I was excited about because the paint doesn't look like it's evenly distributed, right? But yeah, I went a little bit overboard in that black. There's that acetate covered with paint. It is keeping it from flying off. All right, do I let it set? Do I toy around with it? I know people that would now be taking a palette knife and adding a little color here and a little color there. I'm looking for my pointy palette. But I've not experimented with this at all. And to see me do this on camera, I don't know. You're watching me take a little paint and just kind of saying, well, I want to add a little blue to this. You know, do I want to bring that blue down a little bit here? I don't know. I've never experimented with this way. I see other people doing it, but I really have never actually done that. Like just enhanced it. Not when it's wet like this. And I'm the queen. I love to enhance stuff. Are you kidding? The queen of enhancement. I believe in taking that piece, like I said, those ones that sit around, you kind of go, well, I like this, but I don't like this. I like this, but I don't like this. Sit down and do something with them. Make something out of them. This looks a little drab to me, so I'm going to actually add a little bit of that Papon color to it. I mean, it is my piece, right? I can make a mess the way I want to. I'm kind of liking that little outline of blue in there. It makes that orange pop a little bit. I don't want to do anything too far out towards the edge because it'll probably spin off if I went spinning again. I'll add a little tiny bit of purple here. I don't know. See what happens when I spin it. Yeah, I know, Casey. I was terrified of the spinner. You know, I got this on the suggestion of Saskia. This is really a fun. Actually, I did. I took one little part and drug it. You might have missed it, but right up here, see this spot, this spot, this spot. I drug them out and then spun them. Yeah, I know. I really need to. I really wish and need. I really need to and wish I had hours to sit and practice this. Because it's such a fun technique. I think I've done as much as I can with this right now, just to sit and fool around. Let's, now we got everything set up. Now, I did bring a special little tool for you guys. Okay, years ago. Yeah, it actually came from, I got it from Amazon. Okay, years ago, I saw Olga Sobey play with these. And what she was doing is she was rolling them around in a little silicone and then letting the dots open up some color. So, being that I don't mind being experimental here, I don't know if it's going to work because it's already been spun. We'll see as it opens up. There's just a couple drops in this top of this thing. And apparently these little thingies but I have no idea what it's going to do. You'd think a little bit of silicone dropped in there would kind of open up some big sellage, which is what I was kind of hoping for. Let me see if I put a little heat on this thing. Again, I just saw her do it. I bought those. I walked by those things. Well, I don't see much reaction. Do you? I don't see much reaction. All right, let's move this thing off. Let's do another one. Now that we kind of got our system down. Yeah, what she did is she poured some paint off. It looks like it's trying. And after the pour was done, just took the ball in certain sections, like picked a pattern to do a whole section with. Thank you. Other than there's a little bit too much black on this side. And I kind of like how much black I used on that side. So let's do another one since we happen to have one here ready, poised up. I'm looking for the canvas though. It was just right here under my feet. Great. Give me a second, guys. Oh, I know where it is. It was under my big black swipey tool I showed you guys. Okay. Here we go. Let's try to get this centered. We'll get our color spooned on a whole lot faster this time. And so one thing about this bear, it's not too thick. One thing about those other house paints, they always seem too thick. This is the right consistency. I just have to make sure that my paint gets to the right consistency. I'm not a big fan of the house paint, but I am using this stuff that's got none of the primers, faster, all that other chemical, all that chemical stuff they add. It's mostly United States. I don't know if too many European countries have caught up with it. Okay, now this time I'm actually going to spin the white. Now you hear that noise? That's what it was doing before. It's kicking, it's hitting something. Okay, one more time. Yeah, but there's this particular one was not very expensive because it's in my buying thing. I bought it. And for how much it cost, it's beautiful. And look how it just keeps moving and moving and moving and moving and moving and moving and moving. For the price, it was really, really reasonable. Okay, so let's get moving on this again. I'm going to go a little bit further out on my color because it, even though I liked having that center one and it gave me that Nautilus effect, I'm just going to go a little bit broader on this one. Thank you, Saskia, for sending the link. Everybody appreciates that. This is the Papon mixed with a little bit of the Vivid Intense Fluorescent Periwinkle. This is the Interference Gold, some of the best Interference Gold in the world. I mean, it even looks yellow. Most Interference Golds look white. Ours actually looks gold in the jar, which is crazy. It's the multiple coatings they put on. Okay, so we got the gold. I know I'm really in love with this Oasis mixed with that phthalo blue-green shade. This is the Purely Pigment phthalo blue-green shade mixed with the Bling It Oasis. It is one heck of a pretty color. This is the Black Plum mixed with the Papon. Completely made a different color. And we'll just accentuate that a little bit more, even though it's got violet in it. Let's add some of that interference violet on top. This time I'm going to go a little heavy on the interference. I love the look what interference leaves behind, even when it's by itself, you know, under white. I see people saying things. Yeah, there are some great prices on there for those spinners, right, girls? Very, very cool. Okay, and this is the last Papon mixed with the Vibrant Aqua. And it's interesting what the Papon did, how it made 3 different colors. Just adding a drop of some Purely or some Vivid Intense to it. And with the brown on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and put that Silent Cinnamon again on top. Just have a little dribble so it looks like it's on both sides. Now, I'm worried about using too much black. I'm not sure what size the spinner is, honey. But I'm going to take you guys a suggestion, Terry. Here's some white cell activator on top. And then you said to put the black on my knife. So we're going to try it this way. Sadly, the black's going to really dominate, though, with it being on my knife. But okay. Why not? Let's experiment. So I'm getting the black on the back of my knife. Yeah, this is a pretty good size one. I think it's 24 inches, if I had to guess. I'm actually doing this. You guys just can't see me do this. I'm putting the black cell activator on the back of my little pizza knife. Well, we actually did the other way around. We put the black down. Now, what did you say to do? You want me to drizzle a little white? A little white? Okay, I'll drizzle a little white on the knife. Yeah, if I had to guess, 10 inches? That's a good question. Okay, I'm making everybody happy, doing my drizzle here and drizzle there. Right? Lay this puppy down and start. Uh-oh. So what happened was the back of the knife hit that white. Bummer. Boy, if I could, I'd scrape that whole thing off. Isn't that what we do? Pour, scrape, repeat. Of course, I like the color combination that's appearing here, so don't give up, Leslie. We're just going to do another layer of color. The back of this thing caught as I was spinning. Looks like a bunny. What are you in the mood for Easter already, Michelle? It looks like a bunny? Okay. All right, real quick, let's keep doing a thing. So I'm going to hit it on this side, right where it left off. We're going to add some more color here. Actually, I feel like I should come up a little higher. It is my painting, so if I want to start here, I can. I know, I'm putting this beautiful Silent Cinnamon everywhere. You're probably wondering, what the heck is she doing? It doesn't look as uniform and as controlled as the last one. But I think I should start up here and spin. I do like what's happening here, though. That is a really pretty combination. And that one, I put the gold also on the bottom. Put a lot of gold here. And I got my cerulean. Let me get my other Papon color. And my other Papon color. We made 3. Good thing there was a little bit left in here. We made those 3 colors with that Papon. I know, it seems a little strange. Instead of stacking them up, I'm kind of getting them to the point here where I put that Cylon there. But I don't know why it suddenly makes sense to me to do that. So I'm going to dribble some interference here. This is more interference here, a little more interference here. See if I can't fix my oopsie. And who is it that said on she likes that it's unfiltered? Oops, I'm not perfect. I don't make any mistakes. Yeah, that's the whole. And I'm not YouTube people. If I was to had to do a 6-minute video or a 20-minute video, you're only going to show what worked. And I don't think it's to make us feel like we can't do it. But when you watch these artists over and over and over again do a fabulous job on these videos, and you don't see them having to scrape. That's one thing about Sheldon. He actually did a video where he said, I'm showing you the beginning, and I ended up having to scrape this. So sometimes, occasionally, the unfiltered is kind of, it's a cool thing. All right, so in that other one, I did a little white down on this. With a little bit of white. That's the cell activator. And just try on top. Yeah, I'm going to try really hard just to do it on the top, sweetheart. And since the other one was black and white, I am going to do black and white. So I'm getting a little bit of black, dripping a little white on this thing. I was so comfortable with my first spin that my knife was just in the perfect place. Make sure this is all evenly spread. Okay, gotta focus here. All right. Now let's give it a spin. Let's see what we're going to get out of this. I love that it keeps spinning because I have time to clean off the back of my knife. Pretty cool. So this is the part we added. This is the original part I really, really love. I'm going to try to get a little tilt thing going here. Just kind of get it centered. And I'm loving this center right there. See how that, boy, look at that, pick up that sparkle. Man, is that pretty. Now we just need a real long spinning moment so all that stuff on the edges just falls off. Casey's right. She's got a beautiful Facebook group. It's fantastic for beginners. Most of us try to go in there and help when we get a chance to do it. And she's got a great support staff in there. Again, I'm just going to keep spinning off this paint now because the stuff on the edges we don't need. Hey, we're almost there. I got a lot of extra paint here. I want those edges off. Only thing is if you keep doing the tilt, then you mess with that's the problem with the tilt. You mess with the patterns. If you do the spinner and you're patient with your spinner, that's the other thing. When they're doing these filmed videos, they get to speed up the spinning. I don't. On a live, it is the unfiltered, unvarnished truth, right? It just is. So we have to do it in real time. Okay, I'm going to go the other direction. I'm trying to get this thing so it goes a little bit faster. Because there's a lot of paint on that edge. But the canvas seems to do this. YouTube changes your words when you're typing. Uh-oh. It looks like some of it came off. Okay, so this turned out really interesting. That center section I'm not so sure about. That's kind of a weird section how that turned out. This is when we would be doing, and look at this, the paint still hasn't come over the edges. Yeah, okay. Another fix it, kids. I don't have enough white on my edges. I need that paint to come all the way over. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm adding paint on my edges here. Because typically that's the answer. Give it a little paint to slide on, right? So it goes all the way over. Let's scoot this back just a little bit. Get it centered. Best I can see. Let's get a spin on. Give that paint a place to go. Autocorrect is scrape time. No way, Fairy Art Mother. No. The other one I considered scraping, even though it looks like it's doing it for me. Those weird edges are there. But the colors are so extraordinary. My least favorite part is down here. See if I can spread that out a little bit. God, look at that. Man, oh man. And right up here, I'm loving what that interference gold did with that blue. They look like two separate swipes. Yeah, where's the big blob? Yeah, I put some more on the edges. Saskia, I don't know if you saw me do that. I ran some white paint all around the edges so it would have a place to slide off with. Is that what you mean? A big blob. Okay. Now, I just want this part to spread all the way out. Why it's not? Let's get centered here. Why it's not? The other one spread out so beautifully. I thought I put a big blob of paint on here. Well, I'm going to see what this looks like after this dries. I mean, I know it looks a little crazy, but there's paint on every edge, right? I do like this part right here. I think that's really interesting. I do like this part here. This part here doesn't excite me too much. But at this point, I'm liking some of these color combinations, so I want to see what it does. I may be able to paint over this after it's dry. I don't know. Let me get these gloves off. Thank you. I'd push it that way. Yeah, and I may push it a little bit more after we're done. Really, this would be a good one. I'm wondering to do that silicone experiment on. I want to make sure I have some more oil back on here. Take a little and yeah, I did that, hun. I put white all the way around the edges and spun it about 3 more times, Princess Jasmina. You guys couldn't see me do it because the spinner kind of had it off camera. just for the fun of it. I don't know what it's going to do, but this section that's kind of weird, I'll do that Olga Solby trick because I want to see what happens with that silicone if it works. She rubbed her ball in silicone. And I guess rolled it in there. And this is just an odd duck looking part of it. It's not my favorite. We'll see. Play with a little heat. See if that still works. You like it? Oh, you like it? You're not a little weird. So the silicone doesn't seem to be reacting at all with the enamel base. We'll see how if it sets up and changes. Okay, now how I'm going to get these both on here is going to be interesting. And my hands don't have gloves on them anymore, but here is the original one I wasn't so sure about. That first one that we did. I find it pretty interesting, actually. I'm okay with it. First time playing with a spinner in a real long time and fooling around with the paints. We got that gorgeous, yeah, I got a trick for that. And Karen, I think you're right. If the paint's too thick, it doesn't react to the silicone. Good point. There are a couple spots, though, where it's popping up, but we'll see. She was using a really thin, ready-to-pour paint. Thank you. This one has a better negative space. I completely agree. So, everybody, I want to thank you for joining me. My name is Leslie Ohnstad. If you don't know my name, I'm the creator of ColourArte products. I am here 3 days a week, normally Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Today was a special event because I had visitors from out of town yesterday. Last day of the Valentine 25 event. And yeah, happy Sunday, everybody. Hugs and kisses. You're right. Well, Karen, she was using a ready-to-pour paint that was very thin. So I think you're absolutely dead on, honey. So, and if I can find that spinner for you, I know. Oh, Saskia's already linked it. Thank you, Saskia. Yeah, this spinner, it wasn't that expensive. I think it was like $15, $20. See you guys on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you can't meet me on Tuesday, come see me on Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And Saturdays at 9 a.m. as always. You guys have a great day and hugs and kisses. Bye.